So Makera asked me to do a simple project with a CNC machine. Anyway, here is the most complicated mechanical project I have ever embarked on. It is time to bring dinosaurs back. Let's start from the beginning. This stupid smile is of someone that just received his first CNC machine. I was asked to review the Carvera Air desktop CNC machine by Makera. Now, I'm not a reviewing channel, nor have I ever operated a CNC machine before. So the way I'm gonna review it is to see if it enables me to build my dream projects. Because that's how I see tools. They should help you take the ideas in your mind and make them a reality.
Där är en 4-axig.
What you get is a very complete package. You get everything you need to start up the machine. And just a few minutes later, I was pressing every single button I could find in the controller software. And the machine, it looks amazing. To start you off with, they include some example projects. They will teach you how to start the machine and get it running, but you will need to learn a lot more than that, from how you design to how you prepare the program files for the CNC machine to run on. And they have a good collection of YouTube videos to help you out. So, let's find out. Does this machine help me build my dream project? And we need to design a dinosaur. My approach is quite simple. I start with designing a rough outline, and I'm using a reference image that's over 100 years old. The idea is to build an automata of a walking Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus.
Brachiosaurus. You know, the tall dinosaur from Jurassic Park? And I definitely have a fascination for mechanical motions. And these mechanical creatures are just an art form of that. Now, this project will be split up into two parts, because I have no self-control and got a bit ambitious. So here I'm doing a rough animation to check if the joint placements I was thinking of could generate the motions I was looking for. The thing that got me really excited about CNC machines is the tolerances you can achieve and the materials you can use. This machine can do soft metals like brass and aluminum, and of course anything softer like wood or plastics. And to achieve any reasonable tolerances, the machine has to be very stiff. Because when you're cutting, there's a lot of forces that want to deflect or move your tool in unwanted directions. And we're talking about deflections of like hundreds of a millimeter. This is why the frame of the Carvera Air is made from cast aluminum, allowing it to be light enough for a human to lift, but still stiff enough to give me the tolerances to wonder if I should buy a new caliper. And it's not just the frame. Also, all the linear bearings have to be square and have no backlash. And in principle, these machines are very simple. But in practice, there's a lot of engineering challenges that goes into them. Especially when you want tolerances down to a few hundredths of a millimeter. And for its weight class, this machine looks very well designed. So we have a rough outline and I imported that into Fusion. And now I'm trying to model all of the moving parts. And I'm pretty much just winging it. Which is why it feels like playing chess, where I constantly corner myself and have to find moves to get me out. But there's something about this process of designing that I aesthetically like. It feels more natural to me and maybe less optimized. When you run the machine, changing the tools is super simple and will automatically calibrate the tool length for you. Honestly, this is a must-have for a machine that does not have automatic tool changer. And then there's also a probe attached to the side to help you visualize the boundary of your cut and to calibrate the height of the stock. Now, let's talk about noise. It is silent for being a CNC machine, but not if you have it in your apartment. And it also has quite a loud beep, which is great for a workshop, but I put some tape over the speakers and that made it much more enjoyable. And for the rest, I took a trip to IKEA to build myself a chamber for it, and it's built from a kitchen cabinet. I use 8mm acrylic for the front and top, which is magnetically attached with some 3D printed parts. I also have some rubber sound isolation pads, But still some of the vibration got through, so I've ordered new ones with a foam core and hopefully they work better. But all of this makes it much more enjoyable to run when you're in the same room. Alright, let's finalize the design. So we're back in Blender, and I don't really know how to sculpt, so I'm just hoping for the best. And I barely know how Brachiosaurus is supposed to look like. If there are any dinosaur experts, let me know how I did. It is now finally time to machine some parts, and I decided to start with the head, which is made from walnut on the 4th axis. Why? I don't understand. What happened? And it turns out the machine is way smarter than me. It was looking ahead in the future and preventing me from crashing it, but that's nothing a little bit of cam adjustment can't fix. So it's made from walnut, which might have been a bit ambitious to machine at this size. But after some sanding, it is starting to look decent. Now there's another must-have, which is the emergency stop button. And I have verified on multiple occasions that it indeed does function as intended. Like the one time I forgot to set the Z height and just plunged through the part. A huge part of CNC machining is software. And this is not like a 3D printed slicer, and it requires a bit of learning. Makera has their own free CAM software, which is very simple and mostly works. But I found it's a bit too simple and lacking a lot of features. As I already designed in Fusion, I decided to use the built-in one. And it has a much higher learning curve, but it also has greater possibilities. Now, Makera is working on new CAM software, but I'm not sure when that will be released. And I found that learning CAM will make you a better designer. Here I'm making a double-sided part, which means I need to machine it from both sides, which was way more challenging than I ever could have imagined. My assumptions, like that the stock was square, turned out to be completely false.
Yeah, it's definitely off a bit. How would we get off this much?
But at least I was smart enough to make all of the critical measurements from one side.
So, when cutting a double-sided part, one of the most challenging things is to align the stock when you flip it. And without a 3D probe, I think I've gotten a decent method. So the entire idea is that we will try to measure in at 2 places. So try to align the stock here and over here. And that way we have aligned the stock on 2 points on the same edge for both sides. If I just use the L bracket, I get some weird angle and I get a really big offset between the 2 sides, which is not really desirable. So here I'm using the very high-tech paper technique. Essentially I just keep going until I feel that it's getting stuck. Now this one is also getting stuck. And that means that we are about 0.07 millimeters off. And essentially we align it against the L bracket and against this part. We now have something that should be decently calibrated on 2 points. Alright, look at that. I mean, I would say that's quite centered. That's so much better than before.
And the toolbox that the Makera comes with is super handy. And one thing that surprised me when I read up on materials is that most of the brass stock contains lead, which is great for machining, but I don't want that in my apartment. So this is 508L, which is a lead-free alloy. I also trusted the tabs on this one way too much, and you can see that the parts are born prematurely.
Alright, it looks like we survived this, with only some scuffed parts and a bit of emotional damage. Yeah, no wonder this was giving me problems.
And I got a cheap vise from AliExpress, and that was totally worth it. The only way to make all of these parts in the time frame that I set was to make them into panels, and this worked great. I had the machine running for hours and had no issues with it. And now I just have to clean up 145 parts and assemble them.
Alright, I've got all the easy ones out, but the rest, they will need a bit more violence.
But damn, doesn't that look promising?
Alright, I think we finally have something for the first part of the project. Let me show you. So look at this. We're still missing all the gears and the programming wheels. So you can see each of these levers moves something. Moves the foot down here. And they all act independently. We have a similar system for the tail. And as well as the neck.
The actual programming of the walk cycle and the outside aesthetics will be done in second part. To say that I underestimated this project would be almost criminal. So, after using the machine for a ridiculous amount of hours, I can confidently say that this machine is absolutely amazing. It allows me to build and design things that I previously couldn't. And I also use it to build equipment for my research project, which also worked out great. So if you want to learn more about the machine, check out the description, or if you want to get a promo code to get $100 off. This has been a wild journey. I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time.